best finance minister India's never had, right? And some would say the best prime minister India's never had. But he's also a huge Hindutva icon. And sometimes I wonder who's a bigger Hindutva icon, you or Mr. Modi? Why is that? Your mic, please. Why do
Because I mean what I say.
you mean Mr. Modi doesn't mean what?
No, he doesn't. In the Ram Temple, he didn't mean what he said.
So are you suggesting that you are the one who pursues these issues relentlessly, who means what he says, and who puts his money where his mouth is?
See, in the Ram Mandir matter, had I not intervened with my writ petition and elevate the concept of faith, this, till I came into the picture, it was pure property issue. The Sunni Waqf Board claiming it is our property and the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyaya Samiti saying it is our property. And property issues always take long time. The Allahabad High Court took 26 years. And then they try to fight compromises. I came and said, the faith says that Ram was born there. And faith is never questioned. Where Christ was born is never questioned. It was actually the dream of the mother-in-law of the King Constantine of Rome. And most of the holy sites in the world are on faith. So this also is on faith. And the court ultimately accepted that. That's why they gave the whole thing, the whole area, to the Hindus to build the temple.
But do you think that CAA and NRC are the next logical steps after Ayodhya, or do you think UCC, as you have been propagating, is the next logical step?
Well, I've been propagating that uniform civil code, but I think the next logical step, in a narrow sense, would be Krishna Janmabhoomi and the Kashi Vishwanath temple. They have to be liberated too. But I think we are now in a state where we have a very, very, very serious problem, the economy. And I think that's what should get first priority now, first priority attention.
You say that, but the government of which the party you're a member doesn't seem to acknowledge that.
You said that I'm the best finance minister we never had.
Yes.
Tell Mr. Modi to try an experiment with me.
I think you're far closer to him than I am. How often do you meet him, by the way?
I mean, often I keep running into him.
Running into him, or do you actually?
I don't ask for appointments because I know what he thinks, that he knows what I think. I've known him since 1972.
Yes.
When he was in the Vidyarthi Parishad, and I had just joined the Jansangh. So I know him very well. He knows me very well. We are very cordial. Whatever letter I write, he acts on it. But my problem is that I'm not only an economist, but I'm also a politician. And if I get the finance ministry and do well, people are afraid that I might turn around and say, well, now I'm saturated with finance ministry, please give me the prime ministership. And that is something he doesn't want.
So do you think everyone has regarded you as a threat from Atal Bihari Vajpayee onwards?
Vajpayee definitely regarded me as a threat, but I moved out of his way. I decided to continue with Janata Party. Then after Vajpayee went into comatose condition, then the RSS chief and Ashok Singhal, they came and made me merge the party with BJP, and that's how I'm in BJP.
Do you regret that decision?
No. DJ is a wonderful party. The workers are superb. You can't find people who work without taking a penny from you sincerely, if they are motivated ideologically. It's an ideological party at the base. And if you fool around with the ideology as Vajpayee did, they'll defeat you. They won't go to work. That's why after all the India shining that you press people, deluded Mr. Vajpayee with.
He even called an early election.
He called 6 months earlier.
Yes, he was so convinced.
So convinced. But the workers sat at home, said, we won't work. So if you don't have booth agents, you can't win an election.
How do you think Mr. Modi came back?
Modi came back is essentially because the Congress foolishness in opposing everything Hindutva, see. Is he here or is he gone? Then I can be a little more blunt if he's gone.
No, it's all right. You can be blunt anytime.
He's a nice guy. He's in the wrong party, though.
Some would say that about you.
Well, if Sonia Gandhi was not in Congress party, I might have considered joining
You
Congress
were one
party.
of Rajiv's closest friends.
Yes, I was Rajiv's very good friend.
Why does Mrs. Gandhi hate you so much?
Well, I know her history, that's a problem.
Can you talk briefly in polite company about her history?
She is the daughter of a soldier of Hitler's army. Did you know that?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I've read you very closely, Mr.
Okay.
Dr. Swami.
But you don't publish.
Of course I do.
And her mother was Mussolini's youth brigade.
Yes.
She has so far not disclosed where she worked from 1963 to 1968. But I know.
You
and
have told us.
And I won't tell.
Yeah, but you've told.
Off the
yeah.
record, I've told you.
Yeah.
And her corruption is just unbelievable. And so I'm prosecuting her on National Herald, and I'm sure that she's already out on bail, and soon she will be in jail. So therefore, what do you think? She will not like me at all. Do you think anyone will like me if you prosecute them like this?
But you have a history of pursuing certain individuals.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's Jaya Lalita or
Yeah.
even Ramakrishna Hegde.
Yeah. Yeah.
God rest both their
Yeah.
souls. And, you're uncompromising.
Well, with Jayalalitha, I see it was sometimes friend, sometimes enemy.
Yeah, you were even responsible for that tea party. the
Yeah,
famous
that's
tea
right.
Party.
Towards the end, throughout her, we had good relations, but she had this cinema history which had really warped her mind.
In what way?
She thought that everybody is purchasable and I am not purchasable. Nobody has tried, fortunately. Second is, she thinks that violence will overawe people. It didn't work with me. There are a lot of violence she did against me. And then after she was defeated in the elections in 1995, she came to my house because I had filed cases against her. And she said, to fight Karunanidhi, I need you, please join me. So I said that I can't, I've got cases against you. She said, I don't mind. Till the end, she did not object to my filing cases. Then we did very well, and then in Parliament, we became partners in the NDA.
Yes.
And then Mr. Vajpayee betrayed her.
Yeah.
He said, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, got her on board and then ditched her. Then she wanted me to bring him down, which I did. But then we relied on Sonia Gandhi, and she made a deal. After I brought down the Vajpayee government, Ms. Sonia Gandhi made a deal with Vajpayee that he will let Quattrochi go free from Malaysia, because he was going to be deported to India, if she doesn't allow us to form an alternative government. So we got ditched there, and so elections came, and people held us responsible for imposing such high costs.
Yes.
She lost, and she was very unhappy. And it went on like that. Then she would suddenly call me and said, let's have a chat. She was a very fine person, but she went through hell. And she herself used to tell me, I've been put through a ringer in my life, so don't expect me to be normal. But I was the only one who earned her respect because I never asked her for money. Most people used to go and the first thing they would ask is for money. And therefore, she had contempt for anybody who wanted money.
Is your politics personal more or ideological more?
If you mess with me, then it becomes personal.
Who has dared to mess with you, Dr. Swami?
NDTV tried to mess with me.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's now on the way out. So Times of India also tried to character assassinate me. Now,
How did they try to mess?
I once went and gave a speech. I'll give you an example. I gave a speech in BHU that Ravan was a Brahmin, and he kidnapped a Kshatriya lady, and so her husband, who was a Kshatriya, killed a Brahmin. But the Brahmins never worshipped Ravan, they worshipped Raman.
They worship Ram.
So Times of India published that Swami told the BHU audience that Ravan was a Dalit, and that's why he kidnapped a Kshatriya lady. Now that will enrage people. And the scheduled castes are so sensitive, they'll believe this without even checking. So I naturally filed a defamation case against them, and then they apologized. But they printed the apology in a very small way. See. So and then they've been continuing this kind of these defamatory things they're doing. So I got irritated, and I found that their house is not clean. They have done a lot of corruption, so I'm after them. I think you better find another newspaper.
I'm not with Times of India, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
no, I know that.
What about NDTV?
You're a
What-
smart girl, huh? I think highly of you, so don't worry about that.
Yes, thank you. What do you think of what did NDTV do to you?
Same thing. They will write, they will publicize all. I think they were under the influence of Jetli, and they didn't
God
think.
rest his soul, another person who...
Did he have a soul?
Ah,
I don't think he had a soul for what he did. But anyway, now he's gone. That's not my doing. It is God's doing. So what can I do? But the fact is that he targeted anyone and everyone whom he didn't want in the party. So the NDTV was party to that. And all kinds of things used to be said about me. Once I had a quarrel with Harvard on what I wrote.
yes.
And they publicized as if I have committed some big crime. In fact, that particular war with Harvard made me a hero. And now Harvard students came here. The professor they wanted to address was me. And I had to initiate them on what's going on in the Indian economy. So that kind of partisanship, you see, that is all I'm against. Otherwise, I got my daughter is in journalism.
Yes.
She's the editor of Hindu.
Yes.
The paper which nobody can say a BJP man will
Yeah.
be very happy with. Similarly, my wife's sister was a resident editor of Indian Express. So I have lots of connections with the media. But the media being a hatchet person or a person who is doing it on behest of somebody who is my political enemy, that's really the pits. And that's where I get very personal.
Do you think the media is independent of the government right now?
We have a large media, and I know that one paper was writing a lot against him, and suddenly now they're like pussycats. So something must have been discovered about them by Mr. Modi. So now they are meowing all the way. So I don't know, but Hindu definitely is very independent.
Okay.
And,
Applause for Hindu.
Yeah.
And the New Indian Express.
Yeah, New Indian Express, except for Gurumurthy's article, everything else is sensible.
You don't spare anyone, not even your host.
Don't get on my right side. I give as good as I get. That's my motto.
But one after the other, the government seems to almost be doing what you've suggested.
Yes.
Whether it's Article 370 or
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah.
Ayodhya, in a
That's
way,
right,
the government.
yeah.
So, in a way, they're taking away your issues
I
one
don't
by
mind. I don't mind. I mean, Ram Mandir, they ultimately tried to take it away, but ultimately the whole country knows I initiated it. I went there, got a new idea. The judges also praised me. So these are not, it doesn't matter. I want BJP to succeed. It is the original Jansangh that I joined in politics. And Mrs. Gandhi got me thrown out of IIT, you know that.
Yes.
And today, all these people, congressmen, are talking about intolerance and all that. What did they do when they were in power?
But you got the IIT to pay your fee,
I
to
went
pay
to court.
your salary.
I went to court, and it took me 22 years to get back. I came for one day, rejoined, and then asked my back salary. And
It was what, 16 lakh? How much was
It
it?
was, yeah, something like that.
What did you do with that money, I wonder?
My wife took it away. She is a Parsi. They don't allow you. Parsi women will never let you have money.
But she wrote a wonderful biography of yours,
Yeah, she's
which I
been
think was very
devoted.
charming.
Yeah, she's been devoted. Yes, that's true. But on money, I have to take pocket money from her.
How much does she give you?
I have to, it depends. If I want 200, she gives quickly. But if I have 2 lakhs, she will ask me why, where are you going to spend it? Are you going to give me a bill for it and all that? But she said, as a consequence, we are well off. We don't need any money from anybody.
But you've been in parliament, you've been in public life. you were one of the earliest to take to social media, and you discovered a whole new following,
Yeah.
right? That, I think, completely transformed you,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah. The social media has made a big difference because
Yeah.
they combat the media,
Yeah.
the print media and the visual media.
So the
They-
isolation that you were in a way,
and distortion of
yeah,
image. Yes.
you have been able to
Overcome,
counter
yeah,
that.
absolutely. And see, what I like about India is, and the young people, they are thirsting for knowledge.
Yeah.
They are ready to hear anything. Even if I abuse them, they come back to me to ask questions because I educate them. It's a process, and I think this social media has been one of the real reasons why there's been a massive transformation of awareness. Today, the social media has also become very critical of us because of what's happening on the economy.
Yes.
And they are responsible for Mr. Sarju Rai defeating the chief minister in his own constituency in Jharkhand.
Yes.
So I think it's a real force, and you can't fool them. And therefore, I think we should be very thankful that we have such a powerful social media.
But what would you suggest to Mr. Modi? Were he to make you finance minister, what needs to be done with the economy?
See, he has to make me finance minister because he doesn't understand economics.
And Ms. Sitaraman?
And Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, less said the better. And there's nobody who, you see, economics is a very strange science. There is no such thing as a straight line answer for anything. Supposing I raise interest rate like that mad fellow from America came, Raghuram Rajan. He went on raising interest rates. He said, well, I want to control inflation. But what was the other consequence? The cost of, capital cost of funding, you see, that went up. So small and medium industries started closing down. If you cut wages today, then the purchasing power also goes down.
Yeah.
Therefore, demand will go down.
That's right.
Today, our problem is really the demand problem. But Nirmala Sitharaman goes and gives tax exemptions to the corporate sector. The problem is not the corporate sector. The problem is where the purchasing power is to be spent. And that means putting it. Therefore, the best thing you can do today, which doesn't seem to get through the heads of anybody, is abolish income tax completely. And you'll see the economy will boom. It's such a harassment for income tax. Lower the interest rates for loans from 15% or 12% down to 9%. Raise the interest rate on fixed deposit to 9%. And you'll see the economy will start booming again. And therefore, you see, the fact is that economics is a macro subject, where one sector has an impact on another sector, which has an impact on another sector. That you have to understand. You can't just go to JNU and get a degree and learn anything, you see.
What about jobs?
Jobs
That's
is the
a
same thing.
huge,
You have to
huge
incentivize
problem.
the people for jobs. You have to have a system where you give skills to people, where you make it easy for people to go to schools which give skills. The ITI originally discovered, it's now lying in ruins, you see.
Yeah.
So labor should be skilled, and we have the largest young population in the world. The average age of an Indian is only 26 years, whereas the average age of a Chinese is 35.
Yeah.
Americans 37, Europeans 46, and Japanese 50. The young population, you give them, you find innovations. Innovations drive economic growth, not more capital, more labor. It's really innovations. And therefore, you have to motivate. And innovation means taking risk. And Indians hate to take risk. So you need a psychological change. You know, risk is not bad. Doesn't matter if you fail, try again. That kind of psychology we have to feed them when they're children. And that means the parents have a duty to do that. But all our bright boys are risk averse. And that's why they don't go for innovations.
What do you think of the protests against CAA and NRC? Firstly, do you agree with CAA and NRC?
Of course, I was the one who was called to. Amit Shah doesn't like to call me to speak in Parliament ever.
Why
doesn't
is
matter.
that?
Well, he thinks I can't be controlled. That's the problem. Yeah. He doesn't know what I'll say also. So anyway, I don't mind. But this, on 370, on SPG for Sonia Gandhi and this CAA, I was asked to speak. And it's a very simple thing. This is a legacy which we have completed. The legacy started with the Congress Party. The first resolution of the Working Committee of Congress Party on November 24th, 1947 was precisely this, that those Hindus and Sikhs, they only named two. We have got Buddhists and Parsis and Christians also
Christians.
included. But those Hindus and Sikhs who are coming, they are coming because of religious persecution. They should be given citizenship. That's a Working Committee resolution of Congress of 1947. And then Mahatma Gandhi, just 1 month before his assassination, he said in a prayer meeting, these Hindus and Sikhs must be given citizenship. Then Manmohan Singh, 2003, leader of the opposition, tells Mr. Wadhwani across the aisle, who's Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister, please do this. This is a gesture you must do. You must give citizenship to these people. Now, all of a sudden, they're all doing somersaults. What for? They haven't even read the bill or they don't want to read the bill. The bill has nothing to do with Muslims of India. It is the Muslims of Pakistan who are not coming to India saying that we are religiously persecuted. I can't force a Muslim to come from Pakistan here so that your secular aspirations are satisfied. You
What
see?
about NRC?
NRC is still a long time to come. It is about evicting people who are not citizens of India.
Yes. Do you agree
And,
with that?
well, I agree with the concept, but I'd like to see the bill. I saw the CAB, it was called those days, Citizens Amendment Bill, and I was totally in favor of it because this is a commitment we have to fulfill. And that too, the list has been prepared, and the cutoff period was also said, December 31st, 2014. If you were 5 years before that in India, for this purpose, and you're an illegal migrant, we'll give you citizenship. That's all. That's the end. It's not repeatable.
You don't think that the selection of the three countries is arbitrary?
Why? This is part of the partition problem. Afghanistan we included because after Taliban came, they drew all the Sikhs away.
Right.
So only the Sikhs are who have come from Afghanistan.
Right.
But Hindus and mostly the scheduled caste Hindus, because they were doing Mazduri there, you see,
Yeah.
and they were all exploited, so they came, they couldn't bear it. So Christians also came from Pakistan, and Buddhists came from Bangladesh, and Parsis, of course, came from Pakistan, Karachi. So we didn't have any Muslims from Pakistan who said that we are being persecuted. And yes, it's true that Shias could be persecuted, but they go to Iran, they don't come here. The Ahmadiyas go to Bahrain, they don't come here. Even intellectuals who come here, like Tariq Fateh, he has taken citizenship of Canada. And Taslima has taken of Sweden. They don't want to be here next door to Pakistan, they want to go away. So therefore, I think this is a wholly concocted agitation which has all the missionaries, Christian missionaries abroad financing it. And many of the terrorist organizations have joined it. It's an anti-national agitation, and it should be opposed tooth and nail, in my opinion.
But do you feel, as a former activist as well, and you were part of the emergency, where there was a generation of student leaders
Yeah.
that arose because of that.
Yeah.
So do you feel that students don't really have a right to?
They do have a right, but they must understand what they're fighting for. I have two
They
grandchildren.
say
I
they're
have
fighting for the constitution.
No,
they
no,
read the
well,
preamble.
see,
They sing the national anthem.
Well, they may sing the national anthem, but what are you fighting about? Say Article 14, equality before law. I said, have you read Article 14? Supposing tomorrow I say I'm a Brahmin and the scheduled caste is getting reservation. Equality before law, I should also get reservation. I don't get reservation because I'm not equally placed with the scheduled castes. Therefore, I don't get it. So Article 14, the Supreme Court has numerous times interpreted, it is equality of equals. It is not equality of unequals. And that is why I can give the reservation to a scheduled caste but not give it to a Brahmin. So this is the thing that they have to understand. And where is this equality? I mean, Pakistani Muslim, I have to treat him equal to an Indian Muslim. I cannot do that.
But you've offered citizenship to Musharraf.
Musharraf, yes. That is not for religious persecution. That's because he has a lot of information, so we can gain by his coming here.
But he has to admit that his family or his forefathers were
No,
Hindu.
no, myself volunteered because he's from Daryaganj. He was also my friend, by the way. I have been to Pakistan a number of times when he was military ruler. One day he asked me whether I will inaugurate his office in Rawalpindi. So I went, it's a lovely office. Then I asked him, why you asked me? He said, my mother told me if you want to inaugurate a building, you must call a Brahmin. That's why I have called you. So that, he is truly integrated with our culture. And most Pakistanis are, but he was a type, if they are going to hang him, and the judge says he should be hanged for 3 hours. Can you believe that? A judgment of the Supreme Court saying he should be hanged for 3 hours for what? Yes, he was a military ruler. Yes, he had a coup. But you can't hang him for that. Because there have been so many coups in Pakistan. So therefore, I felt that he also knows a lot about Pakistan and the army. So if he comes to India, he's welcome. We'll look after him.
I have always wondered at your network because you are so well networked.
Yes.
You know so much.
Yeah.
How is it and who are your sources? If you can, well, as many as you can tell us.
I taught for about 10 years continuously at Harvard.
Yeah,
And then every year I went.
right. Every
Especially
summer.
Every summer, because that's the shortest period
Yeah.
and it's most convenient. It's hot here. It's much better there. And so I can do my political activities in India and teach there. I went, of course, in 1984, 85, 86 for the whole year. 3
Yeah.
years I was there. So a long association with Harvard in teaching. So the best students come there. And then I've been a good teacher, otherwise they wouldn't be calling me so often. And they are all now positioned in all kinds of places. The Union Bank of Switzerland's chairman was my student. The defense minister of state in Italy was my student.
Wow.
The Eti Salat was a kind of thing whose license I got cancelled in the Supreme Court. Its vice president came to me to urge me. He was also my student. So I have students all over. I have students in Pakistan. The finance minister of Pakistan, Shahid Barki, was my student. And so this network I have kept in touch with. My father was a bureaucrat. My father-in-law was an ICS. I was brought up in Delhi. That's another network. I'm friends with the Chinese because I speak Chinese. And I've worked on their economy. And when Morarji was there, I was against Soviet Union. They were against Soviet Union. So friendship developed. These are Iran. I go to Israel and Iran at the same time. There's no Indian who can do both.
Do both.
I have done it. So therefore, it's a question of being inclined. If you help people in difficult moments and not expect anything in return, they remain your friends for a long time. And that's how it is.
So would you say, in a sense, you're the archetypal Lutyens person,
Me?
whom this government actually has an antipathy to?
No, I'm a Lutyens person whom the Lutyens hate. That is the problem. Because I don't conform to their behavioral thing.
What is expected of a Lutyens?
Lutyen, he should be anti-Hindu. That's the first thing. And I can't be anti-Hindu.
Do you feel this government is anti-intellectual? Or anti-intellect?
This government is not anti-intellectual because they crave for the intellectual support, and they have people for dinners and all, people who don't deserve to be called intellectuals.
Such as? Come on, you've never shied away from naming names.
Such as Shashi Tharoor.
Well, he was our guest here yesterday.
Well, you know what I've got him on.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think he likes you
So
very much.
No, not at all. And you stay away a distance from him. Otherwise, his record is not good as far as women are concerned.
No, I think I'm safe. Just a last quick question, and then I'll ask Ms. Chawla, would you like to ask something? One question that I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
You know, when you put out things like an FIR against Deepika Padukone, is there a slight sense of, sort of creating fear among people? It is something that, do you think about it?
No, there's no question of creating fear. You have done something wrong. I have never failed in any of my court cases. because I don't take up any court case unless.
No, in the sense that it's like putting a target on someone's back.
No, but you know, that's my job, no? I mean, somebody's corrupt, you steal away the whole National Herald newspaper. I mean, I can't go and saying, oh, no, I can't do that. I'll get a name of vendetta and all that. There's no vendetta here. These are all provable things or disprovable things. And usually my enemies have a whole battery of lawyers. And I'm not a lawyer. I
Yeah.
just learnt law.
Yeah.
And I
Your
have a
wife is a lawyer.
Yeah, my wife is a lawyer and she's a good teacher too. So therefore, whatever I have done, I've done for the interest of society. Because corruption is the one that has really harmed our society and has raised the cost of capital. So that is why I'm against corruption and I'm fighting. I'll fight it only for that reason. I have nothing personal against anybody.
My last question, do you think a Hindu Rashtra is inevitable in India?
We are already a Hindu Rashtra. Tell me what is there in the Constitution